let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Fell in love with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed, skipping out, no I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh, magic. No, I'm never letting go. Now that I have it with you. When you kiss me, it's like the stars fall out the sky onto my heart to cover up what I don't wanna show. I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Fell in love with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed, skipping out, no I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, yeah, you take me higher, baby.
Welcome to Radical Trip to Power, the progressive news show with Let's Be S3. I am your host, Marlon, along with Tracy Carson, along with Anna Hart. And as you can see by the title, we'll be discussing exactly what gerrymandering is. Before we jump into the decision that happened over the policies and 2 weeks ago.
Hey, hold on. Is anybody else getting really bad distortion?
Marlon, your
Yes.
phone is you're not coming across clear at all.
Yeah, I couldn't hear much of anything you just said, man.
Can you hear anything I'm saying?
It's like talking through a computer box.
Yeah.
Here with me, please.
But while Marlon is taking a look at that, good evening, Anna and
Hello,
Tracy.
everybody.
How y'all doing?
Doing okay.
I'm doing okay. I got some unpleasant news, but I'll deal with it.
Sorry to hear that. I hope
I mean,
it's
it's not
manageable.
It's manageable. I had to have all my teeth extracted.
All?
I empathize.
And I'm not too happy at 50 years old having had this done, but it could be worse.
It could be. It'll be a lot to adjust to, but once you start to get it, and please talk to me anytime, I can tell you some tips and hints that I've learned. Because I haven't had teeth since I was 24. Yeah.
Well, I know that's definitely a shock to the system, and certainly we got all our support. You know,
You do.
because for them to make that type of a decision.
Period.
Oh yeah.
Oh, good for you. Good for you.
If I
couldn't afford implants.
Yeah, I'm flying to Mexico because in the United States it's too much. So I'm gonna fly to Mexico, do it. Ain't that sad? Our healthcare system is that bad that you got to fly overseas to get stuff done.
Yes.
Don't be like
But
that family that went down there and half of them got kidnapped and murdered, and
There's
just so she could get a
Bolivia,
booty
Mexico,
work.
Brazil, Canada. Canada is a little bit expensive, but
mm-hmm.
not in these United States. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Hey,
American
Captain.
History seems like.
Thank you,
Hello,
Captain
Captain
Sunshine.
Hello.
Sunshine. I'm assuming that I'm better now. That
You
everybody.
are
Yes.
Yep.
much better.
Okay, not going through the grand gesture or repeating what the show is and who the hosted of it, all that stuff is. Tonight's show is going to talk about gerrymandering. I think a lot of people do not understand that word. They've heard it several times, but they don't quite know what it means. And it looks like my internet is going out again.
Well, for right now, you sound good.
Better. Okay, and then
Nope, now you froze.
weeks
And
ago
then he
Oh,
went.
in Wisconsin. And now I'm back.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Kind
Yeah.
of.
Yeah. Sure.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Y'all gonna be carrying this show for tonight.
The
So
government came to get them, y'all. It's the government.
It's because Javier done went in there and done did some stuff.
Okay. Let me say it real quick while I got internet. Then we're gonna get into what happened two weeks ago. The Supreme Court in Wisconsin, who made a ruling there that could change the face of Wisconsin gerrymandering that's been going on for 10 years. I'm going to give you a background on everything up to that point and what that looks going forward.
Okay, doke.
So without further ado, because I don't know how long I can last, let's get this party started. Yeah, I do find it kind of strange to talk about gerrymandering and the internet stopped working. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into it with a simple definition and an explanation and an example of what exactly is gerrymandering.
First, let's start with Government 101. In the United States, each state elects a certain number of representatives based on the state's population. The larger your population, the more representatives you have. Each representative represents a district, or a geographical area including its voters. Ideally, we want to have a range of representatives who reflect the political views of the population across the state. But how do we decide who gets to vote for each representative? Let's look at an example. Suppose we have a very tiny state of 50 people. 30 of them belong to the blue party and 20 belong to the red party. And just our luck, they all live in a nice even grid with blues on one side of the state and reds on the other. Now, let's say we need to divide the state into 5 districts. Each district will send one representative to the House to represent the people. Fortunately, because our citizens live in a neatly ordered grid, it's easy to draw 5 lengthy districts, 2 for the reds and 3 for the blues. Voila! Perfectly proportional representation, just as the founders intended. Now, let's say instead that the blue party controls the state government, and they get to decide how the lines are drawn. Rather than draw districts horizontally, they draw them vertically, so that in each district there are 6 blues and 4 reds. With a comfortable blue majority in the state, each district elects a blue candidate to the House. The blues win 5 seats, and the reds don't get a single one. Oh well. Finally, what if the red party controls the state government? The reds know they're at a numerical disadvantage, but with some creative boundary drawing, they can slice the blue population up such that they only get a majority in 2 districts. So despite making up 40% of the population, the reds win 60% of the seats. Not bad. This process of redrawing district lines to give an advantage to one party over another is called gerrymandering, and it's nothing new. The term gerrymander is named after early 19th century Massachusetts Governor Elbridge Gerry, who redrew the map of the Senate's districts in 1810 in order to weaken the opposing Federalist Party. Our example is, of course, a huge simplification. In the real world, people don't live in neatly ordered grids sorted by political party. But for politicians looking to give themselves an advantage at redistricting time, the process is exactly the same, and the consequences are very real. Gerrymandering is at least partly to blame for lopsided representation in the House seen in recent elections. And, it's been argued by the president, for political polarization, since representatives don't have to compromise hardline views in order to win seats.
So there's a simplification of gerrymandering, and it's pretty good. So let me give you an update on what's been going on since last year. And if my internet goes out, y'all gonna have to take over for me till I get my crap together.
Okay.
So for the first time in 15 years, the Wisconsin Supreme Court is now liberal leaning. First time in 15 years with the election, with the election that Janice Protasiewicz won by 10 points over Daniel Kelly, which that dude is a piece of work, boy, I tell you. Like I said, to give the liberal Supreme Court a liberal leaning for the past since 15 years ago. She ran on looking at closely the abortion rights in Wisconsin and gerrymandering in Wisconsin, which may not be very unknown, but if you go ahead and Google what's the most gerrymandered state in the United States, Wisconsin is either number one, top three, depending on what state it is, but it's always going to be up at the top. So after that, she won, and there was already 2 lawsuits about gerrymandering that was going through the courts about gerrymandering, about the mapping in Wisconsin. The state legislature in Wisconsin, because of what Protasiewicz said during her run, wanted her to step down from even hearing the case if it happens to go to the Supreme Court. She, of course, said no. They decided to do this.
The issue circles around 2 lawsuits that have not even made it to the Supreme Court yet. Both seek to overturn the Republican-drawn legislative electoral maps created in 2011. For years, Democrats have accused the maps of being gerrymandered, and Justice Janet Protasiewicz called the maps rigged during her campaign. Republican Speaker Robin Vos calling on the justice to recuse herself. Now, the Associated Press reports that Republican lawmakers are floating the possibility of impeaching her. Democrats called it a power grab.
Every legislator must look in the mirror and ask whether they are willing to erase the votes of over 1 million Wisconsinites, including their own constituents.
We asked Assembly Majority Leader Tyler August about the possibility of impeachment.
It's really up to her. I don't think that it's going to come to that, because I think that she'll do the right thing and recuse herself.
Speaking in front of the state capitol, Democratic state lawmakers announced a $4 million campaign they are calling Defend Justice.
If politicians in Wisconsin or anywhere in our nation can undo elections because they don't like the outcome, frankly, what is the point of elections?
This includes having Democratic supporters knocking on doors in Republican-controlled districts as early as tonight.
When you have a political operation saying we're going to go out and knock on doors, which is what you do during campaigns, and campaign to keep a justice on a case, proves our point.
Democrats believe the Republican-controlled Assembly could vote on impeachment as early as this week. With a 65-34 majority, it takes 50 votes to do so. This would bar her from any of her duties as justice until the state Senate had a trial. It would take 22 votes to convict, the exact number of seats Senate Republicans hold. There are other high-profile cases likely to head to the Supreme Court. This includes the issue of drop boxes and abortion.
So, newsflash, they didn't try to impeach her. They didn't even vote on it. This was a fear tactic to have her just don't even hear the case, or if the case makes it to the Supreme Court. Mind you, this is how desperate the Republicans legislature in Wisconsin was to keep in their power. To the point where they knew how one of the judges was going to lean if it makes it to the Supreme Court. Keep in mind, this haven't even made it to the Supreme Court yet. But they're already seeing it going to the Supreme Court. They're already seeing what one of the judges is, one of the judges is going to vote for it. So their scare tactic was, hey, I want you to not be a part of this. Step down, let the other ones vote on it. She said, no. Okay, we'll impeach you. Okay, go for it. And it literally died after that. They didn't even try. So moving a little further up, this is what happened 2 weeks ago. The cases did make it to the Supreme Court. And here's what happened 2 weeks ago over the holiday, maybe even before the holidays, but here's what happened when it did make it to the Supreme Court.
A decision that is set to shift the composition of Wisconsin legislature. Wisconsin has remained a divided state with its Democratic governor and Republican-controlled Senate and Assembly. Democrats will now have the opportunity to regain the majority as the state Supreme Court is now requiring the legislature to draw new legislative maps prior to the 2024 election. Law Forward, a voting rights advocacy group and one of the lawsuit's plaintiffs, praised the victory. In a statement to 27 News, Law Forward staff counsel Dan Lenz said gerrymandered maps have distorted the political landscape and the organization would be working to draw fair representative maps. In a dissenting opinion, Chief Justice Annette Ziegler argued the deal was sealed on election night, referring to Justice Janet Protasewicz's addition to the court. Ziegler said their decision to remap Wisconsin was a departure from the judicial role of the court and dangerous to the state's constitutional framework. I spoke with former Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice Janine Getzke, who made note of the conservative justice's continued reference to the Court of Four. Getzke said, regardless of the claims, the liberal justices were not acting outside of their authority, going on to say this is simply what happens when you have a shift in ideology on the court.
That's what happens on courts, unfortunately, all the time. You look at what's happened to the U.S. Supreme Court. You know, suddenly the makeup of the court changed, and all of a sudden decisions change and precedent gets thrown out, you know, and it's the other side politically.
The court held in its decision that it would work to draw temporary maps, requiring both parties to rely on experts to submit proposed legislative districts until the legislature formally enacts new ones. The enactment of new maps now leaves all lawmakers in the Assembly and a majority of the Senate up for re-election next year, making Wisconsin an even more pivotal state leaning into the 2024 election.
Now, I forgot to add this little tidbit. I'm looking down at my notes because I said I'm going to start writing stuff down to make sure that I have all facts and names so I can stop skipping over hard names. So, you know, forget it. I can't pronounce it. So what? I'm not going to do it.
Protasewicz.
Protasewicz. Before it even made it to the Supreme Court, the state legislature did redraw the maps in Wisconsin before the cases made it to the Supreme Court. I spoke to one person who actually looked at the redrawing of it. They would have lost one district if the map would have went through. At least one. Of course, Governor Tom Evers vetoed it. It went to the Supreme Court, and here's where we at now. So, I want to get everybody conditioned and for February. we're doing a deeper dive into Black history. You know, none of that surface stuff that we've heard for darn near since we went to elementary school and did our Black History Week at that time projects. This is what I mean by doing a deep dive. Gerrymandering in this country, just in case everybody wants to know, oh, it's not that big of a deal. We've come a long way, blah, blah, blah. This is what gerrymandering is doing right now. This is present. Okay? This is what the present gerrymandering is doing. When we get into February and we see how gerrymandering really have affected minorities for decades, you can now stop trying to say it doesn't have an effect on it like you think it does. That's why I did this piece now. Now, granted, I can't stop everybody from thinking that because you don't think anything was wrong anyway. So we're not talking to you. But the people who keep thinking that things such as gerrymandering does not have an effect on present day America, I've literally just shown you the changes of gerrymandering in the most gerrymandered state in the United States for 15 years. There is a video, and I can't find it anymore, and I wish I could because I think it was just mixed in with another video I was looking at, where it was a Democratic legislator in Wisconsin that said, it is so gerrymandered here in Wisconsin. There's a Republican congression in the middle of, there's a Republican district in the middle of my district. That's how come on. So that's the reason why I did this. I'm going to shut my mouth now and have it everybody else. Apparently, Agent Johnson let me stay up long enough for me to say my piece. So I'm going to keep my mouth shut and see who's all out there. Who's ever want to go?
Oh, okay. Anna, you want to go?
The only thing that comes to mind for me right now is the ridiculous shapes that we have seen come out of some redistricting. And so our lawmakers, they're able to draw the lines whatever way they want.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
For the most part. So basically, there's a Supreme Court ruling that says gerrymandering is wrong if it's being done on the basis of a protected attribute, whatever the proper term is. So like, you can't draw the map on the basis of race. So instead, they will draw the maps on the basis of income, which ties to race. They'll draw it on the basis of voting patterns, which ties to race, because like Republican Party is like 95, 98% white. So just draw the map according to Republicans and you will have done that thing. The thing about it for me is like, it's once again, it's always like sleight of hand. You know, look over here, don't look over there. The whole argument of gerrymandering, I don't know what, I mean, I do know what the basis is. The basis was to, take power, but there's really no good justification for protecting gerrymandering, right? So what you'll hear people say or hear politicians say is that it's important because people live in diffuse areas and it's not fair for the minority party or minority constituency to become watered down in such a way that they don't have a voice. So that's the funny thing about what conservatives do. They actually will take a legitimate argument and then flip it on its head and use it back against you, right? So they will say this is to protect minority rights when it really is to protect the majority power. I personally, I mean, no matter how your state is drawn, they should develop grid systems that just overlay the state and done, right? You're going to have some, now that could end up really hurting the Democratic Party in some states. It could end up hurting Republicans in some states, but just lay it out. Boom, sits on top of the state. There's going to be some funny shaped ones that are around the edges or whatnot. But there you go. And then we're done. Plus people self-select anyway. But this thing that they do where they do this calligraphy art and create whole new things is so ridiculous to the point of just being stupid. Like it's beyond blatant what they're doing, and it doesn't even have to be racially based. Now that's how it often manifests, but it's really about maintaining the power of your group. And as the Republican Party continues to lose in the form of numbers, it has become more and more creative on how do they win on the basis of like science or weird math. And Wisconsin is a clear example, because Wisconsin was it's a white state with some indigenous Americans and some black people sprinkled in there, but those populations have continued to grow over time, which creates a problem. So they have to make sure that they gerrymander in such a way as to, hold on to that power.
Right. But to Captain's latest comment there, yes, a lot of our good documents start with "we the people," but all adults here, we are not a democracy. It is not one person, one vote. That's not the way we operate.
Which is really interesting, because one of the things that I harp on a lot of times here is I always take things back. Okay, so the power of advancement, the power to change, those are mass, right? Those are the masses. Any big change we've ever had in this country has always been done by a mass of people. It's never been done by an individual.
Right.
However, all of those masses are comprised of individuals. So as an individual, what do you actually stand for? And what I view is one of the big problems is people don't ever ask themselves that question, because our society is built in such a way that you don't have to. So people don't really stand for anything. They literally just kind of glide through life, focusing on whatever, make more money, or family's happy and safe, whatever it is, but you're never really held to who are you as an individual and what do you personally stand for. And because we don't do that to ourselves and each other, it allows for some of these things to go on. So like whenever you hear someone, to me anyway, whenever I hear someone say that they are a constitutionalist or a originalist, or whatever that the other third term that they use, I already know that they're a problem, because the Constitution is an aspirational document. It was literally written to speak to a better version of the country than currently exists, and built in processes for you to go back to it and fix it. Right? Yeah. So it's to ever say that you're going to be an originalist is a problem, because you are literally saying we're going to go back to a time that does not even relate to this time and do what they would have done. That's a bogus argument. That's like saying I am going to go with whatever a 5-year-old says, even though, because when we were all 5, we made this decision. And now that we're 40, we're going to rely on the decisions that were made when we were 5 and why we made them at age 5. I don't see how that makes sense in anyone's world. But that's what happens when you hear people talking about we're going to do it how it was originally intended. We the people was not about all the people.
Mm-hmm.
They were not. I mean, some were religious and some were not. And so when they say they're imbued by the Creator with inalienable rights, which is in the Bill of Rights, they weren't necessarily saying a Christian God or a Muslim God or anything else. They were just saying God, whatever God that is. Very what's that term when you're like Christian kind of?
Nationalist?
No. No. Like you're not an atheist because you believe there is agnostic. It's a very agnostic approach, right? But people do power plays, and this is what we're dealing with. And we live in a nation that is so free and so privileged and so blah 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 that we have some of the lowest voting participation rates in the world. Oh, this is what I was going to say, and I'll stop. Gerrymandering is one of the reasons why the Democratic Party has such a terrible history of communicating with the masses, because the Democrats come out and they say simplistic things like just vote. And the problem there is you are pretending as though those who do not vote are just apathetic dumbasses, and they're not. Some of them are. Many of them are not. Many of them have looked at the system and they hear you say just vote, like that's the whole strategy, just vote, as though gerrymandering isn't a problem, corruption isn't a problem, lackeys are not a problem, and that's why, like Tracy, I hear the third party, they try to say that to people, right? Like the system's messed up. Y'all need to look at fixing some things. I'm not necessarily agreeing with most of what's been put forward by the third parties as a solution, but their voice is critically important because the Republicans and the Democrats are just lying to people. And I yield.
For now. Tracy?
It's pretty much said everything that I would say except for the third party part, but this is exactly why people don't vote. Like I used to say, how could you vote, especially to my those of us of African descent. I'm like, somebody died for you. Somebody died so you could get this right. But they just looked at the system. They looked at one party hates them right out open, and the other party tolerates it. So in their mind, what's the point? And when stuff like gerrymandering happens, which we should be paying attention to, we're not, because we're too busy watching the Cat Williams interview. Like, we're so distracted. Like, we're just distracted from what we should actually be paying attention to and the ramifications this could have. And trust and believe, it's not just Republicans who gerrymander. Democrats gerrymander also. Let's put this on both parties. Now, Republicans do it more based on race than the Democrats do. Democrats just do it based off of whatever metrics that they're using. They don't necessarily, well, I don't know that to be a fact, but I know the Republicans normally use race in their gerrymandering decisions. And the only way that I know to be gerrymandering, because the courts are going to move slow, because states are outright saying, yeah, we heard what you said, Supreme Court, but we're still not going to do it. Is to get people to vote. That's the only thing that beats gerrymandering. And you can't get people to vote because the system is so crooked that people just stay at home and just be like, what? Why vote?
And I'm glad you said that, because that is one of the things.
Hold on, Diz. What you have, Adam?
I was just wondering what are the, for lack of a better term, percentages of people who they just don't vote versus people who can't who either find it very hard to get to a voter ID sort of thing, to get there, to take time off of work.
I know 40% of Americans who are eligible do not vote. Now, whatever reasons those are, that can include imprisonment, felonies, I don't give a care, the lines are too long.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely the reality that there are ability issues, right? Mobility ability issues, but and I'm not trying to sound harsh or anything, but mathematically they're complete outliers. Like mathematically, if you ran the numbers, it just would not matter in and of itself. And then you have, like with the voter ID situation, hate to sound like a conservative here, but that's largely a cop out as well, because there are carve outs and ways that we could accomplish that should we decide to do so. Right. So you're telling me at no point during the entire year, for someone who does want to vote, can no one get you to a place to get ID? At no point.
You get
at no point.
I know in Indiana, we give our state, not driver's license, but we get state ID. Although I don't think they should be using ID to vote, but hey, that's a whole nother discussion for a whole nother day. But you do get your ID to vote.
Well, I'm curious because
for free.
I'm not a big, voter ID guy type of thing, but I'm not against it. So why wouldn't you use some form of ID?
I would say, this is what I would say, and Anna, you can jump in here too. I've always thought asking people for ID for what? Who's out here committing voter fraud? Who's just out here like, know what? It happens.
Once again, it's small. It's small.
Yes,
but it happens. So
I'm not disagreeing with you that it happens. I'm saying it happens in such small number. I have a better chance of winning the lottery than committing voter fraud.
Well,
I have a better chance of winning the lottery than committing voter fraud.
No, every election there are people.
I got a different take on the ID thing, and I'll give it back to you, Theas. Me personally, I don't understand why you would not have some form of ID on you.
If you're a senior citizen,
or you don't live in a metropolitan area.
You live
if you're in a rural area, what the hell do you need ID for?
Yeah, you're in the country someplace, and you just
if you're not a driver, I don't care.
Not be able to drive in a rural area.
But if you don't drive, it doesn't matter. I mean, like there are communities that are so tight, you can walk anywhere you want to go.
But what you are saying is still, to me, an outlier. We're talking about the majority of people who are in a metropolis, who are drivers, who've had ID before in their lives. And
so let me push back just a touch. So in rural communities across the country, in almost every state, there are significant portions of people who simply would not need an ID on a regular basis. Significant numbers. Now, our view is kind of distorted because we, other than Anna, we all live in metropolitan areas. So it's just a daily thing, right? But I still say even within those, though, you should have some form of ID. But I just think we shouldn't have all these hurdles. It's like, if you really want to go at it, there's steps you have to now take. If you say that everyone needs to have an ID so that we can now, when you come to vote, because what your ID does when you come to vote is it's basically saying, here, take this. This is reflecting that another entity has verified my identity so you can move forward without me going through a bunch of paperwork and extra questions and all of that, right? Boom, here's the ID. DMV already cleared it. Boom, here's the ID. Passport people already cleared it. Boom, you see what I'm saying? But if we're going to do that, which I'm not against, not in favor, and I'm not against it, you know what I'm saying? I think there should be a solution, but I don't know what it is. But if you're going to do that, now we have to look at, well, what makes it so difficult to get the state ID? See, one of the issues with getting the state ID or a driver's license, you got to have a car or access to a car. And then with the state ID, or you have to have You got to pass a vision test. All these different things go with the driver's license. You're right. You don't have to actually have a car.
You don't have to have a car to have a driver's license, but you do have to pass a vision test.
Correct. So state ID would be the solution for those people. Okay. But now with the state ID, what paperwork is involved for me to do this? What do I have to verify? And when you tell me I need to have a utility bill or something with my name on it, well, what if I'm a dependent in a family of like 8 people and I don't need ID?
Here's a good example.
No, you're 25 years old and don't owe anybody anything. You just don't need it.
You're in college and you have no bills in your name. You're just off to college.
Yes.
I'm going to have to agree with Captain Sunshine on this. The argument, to me, it was put in place to keep a certain segment from voting, and that's why I can't stand it.
I fully agree with that. But what I'm saying is, if we do require
plus you have to have
ID,
an address, and if you're homeless, you don't have an address.
Right. Also true. But if we do require an ID, that's when we have to attack the ID situation. Okay? To get a social security card, you just need to be born here or become a naturalized citizen or be in the process of getting your citizenship. Right? We issue social security cards every day, all day anyway. So it shouldn't be that hard that we know who's a citizen and who's not a citizen. They go to wherever office is convenient to them, get their state ID. Their state ID, let's say it lasts 10 years. You ain't got to renew it, but once every 10 years. Boom. We've just helped a lot of people. The problem is Republicans or conservatives, to be more accurate, they are against, they say you need to have state ID, and then they get in the way of you getting an ID. Right? They say, hey, you should just vote. Just show up and vote. And then they stop you from voting.
And they're the party that tends to be against same-day voters registration.
And now they were the main ones for mail-in ballots. They're the main ones against them now. So it's all for them. They know that they are a dwindling group.
Yeah.
They hold financial power. They hold social power, but they don't hold numerical power. And that's where politics gets in the way.
And here's another segment we always forget about. What about felons? In some states, Indiana, ex-felons can vote. In Florida, they passed a law for ex-felons to vote, but Ron DeSantis decided,
that doesn't serve me, so we're going to overturn it.
We're going to do. Oh, doesn't matter if the people of Florida went in droves of numbers and said yes. I'll just do what I want.
And what's so wild about what they did in Florida, and they're doing this in various places, they instituted it's just by another name, but they just instituted a poll tax. Right? So this thing went on the ballot that said that you had a felony, you should be able to appeal to get your voting rights back because we believe people should get their voting rights back after they serve their term. And then they turn around and say, yeah, you got to pay back all your fees, you got to pay these penalties, you got to cross this hurdle, and then after all of you jumping over all these hoops, I, as the governor, get to make the individual decision if you get to have your vote back.
Or
what the?
This is the kind of thing that I keep telling people. This is what happens when you don't vote. This is what happens when you sit back, you elect garbage legislators, whether they're Democrat or Republican, because they're both garbage. And trust and believe. If we don't show up this, because I'm voting third party because no way I vote Democrat or Republican. But if we do nothing and if we don't educate people about this, tell them, hey, I know the Cat Williams interview was funny, but look, for 5 minutes, just give me 5 minutes of your time and let me explain why this gerrymander, what legislators are doing to keep you from voting. They're telling you that they want you to vote. But what they're doing in the background is telling me that they don't want you to vote. Could you imagine if that 40% of Americans that didn't vote came to vote? Oh,
I can. And you know how we saw a glimpse of that.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump pulled a bunch of non-voters out of the woodworks and brought them in. So what I wish would be, because I don't have the voice, I don't have the the reach. But that what you just said, Tracy, is so important. We have to back a little bit.
Stop watching
One
Club
of the
Shay Shay.
things, well, I don't watch it anyway, but that's a whole nother story. But we one of the things that frustrates me when I talk to people about politics is they'll say, well, you're just saying why I should, you're just trying to scare me, right? This guy's better than that guy. Oh, right. No, yeah. And I'm like, okay, that's a very rudimentary way of understanding things. I need you to kind of like step up a little bit. I mean, I don't say that to them. I find a different approach than that, but that's what they're doing. But the reality is, yes, people need those talking heads like us, yes, we need to tell you why you should be afraid. We should tell you why Trump getting into office again is a horrible, horrible thing. And that even if you don't believe that the American democracy works properly, which I firmly do not believe the American democracy works properly and that has ever truly been, it is still something that needs to be preserved compared to the alternative, right? And people who want to do like a childish way of looking at things say that, well, it's always greater or lesser evil. Yeah, but that's life. It's always you're choosing the lesser evil. That's literally, when's the last time you had a chance to choose good? Okay? We're complex creatures in complex situations. There is nothing that's going to be clean good. Everything is going to be mixtures and all of that stuff. But after saying, hey, Trump wants to suspend the Constitution. Hey, Trump wants to, become a dictator. Hey, Trump has actually led a coup against his own government. Hey, all these things, you got to say them because it's the truth and it's very serious. And it should be enough to convince anybody out there that this is a problem. And I don't care how you feel about anything else. I don't care how you feel about the political system. I don't care how you feel about the parties. I don't care. That is a problem. Okay, you should do any and everything necessary not to let that guy get back in office just for those reasons. 1 second. But it's not enough. You must also show people, how does it benefit you to vote? How does it actually help you? How does your vote impact your school board? How does your vote impact your local sheriff's department? How does your vote affect the judges in criminal justice reform in your city and your state? These are the small wins with major impact that people need to be taught so that they can see why their vote's important. But if the only thing you do is go about how scared you should be about the federal government that people already think is a mess, you're fighting uphill. I'm sorry, Tracy.
All I was going to say is we need to stop gaslighting democracy. And this is what I mean. First of all, we don't live in a democracy. I'll explain what I mean here in a second. If I hear one more time the Democratic Party say democracy is in danger, we do not. I want the Democratic Party to listen to me really good. We do not live in a democracy. If we lived in a democracy, we wouldn't use the Electoral College to pick our president. We wouldn't use it.
That's not true. That's not fully accurate. Democracy just means that the people have a voice.
But we have no voice. Technically,
yes,
if nobody voted for president, we would still get the Electoral College picking.
No, because if nobody voted for the president, you won't have any votes for the Electoral College to work with electors. Because the states have to assign the electors based on the vote. But I get what you're saying, right? The Electoral College, we don't have what?
If you live in one of those states that says, yeah, whoever wins the popular vote, we're going to just give them the presidency. But
you just said that they weren't going to vote, though.
No, I said in this example that I'm using. I've lived under 2 elections where the person that won the popular vote did win the presidency. 2 times that's happened. You would think, because it happened to Democrats 2 times, you would think they would say, hey, wait a minute. Now we keep getting screwed on this Electoral College thing. Why don't we look at a way to get people engaged? Nope.
No, they don't want to do that. They want to continue to play the game as it is because their job is to stay and just sit where they are. If they're in power, then they can try to do some things. This is the Democrats. Democrats. If the Democrats are in power, they can do some little things to try to help the country stay status quo. If they're not in power, then they can push back against the Republicans who are trying to pull the country backwards, right? And then the Republicans are saying, well, if we get in power, then we can just hold it tight in the status quo. And if we're not in power, then we'll try to push and pull things back. So they're both playing almost the exact same game. So I'm with you there. The party system that we have, that messes up or messes with democracy. The Electoral College messes with democracy. We do not have a pure democracy. We don't. But we do have a democracy, right? Because you do vote, and your vote does translate to elected officials who then translate to elected office, who then do stuff to ignore us and take money from rich people. But it's still a democracy. It's just not right. And my problem with all of it is it's a choice. And why can't we put forth the serious, hard effort to get more people to want to make a choice that says, you know what, it's not red team, it's not blue team. It's my kids, it's my job, it's my family.
Because they rather watch Club Shay Shay.
No, and what you just said in a way is very true, because I get so frustrated. I get so frustrated.
We're
like the way
distracted.
every week is a new shiny object, and it's so annoying. But it's nothing new. You go back to the days of the Roman Colosseum. Why did the emperors put that in place? The gladiator fights and all of that, because the masses need to be distracted. So you give them entertainment, and they will focus on the entertainment no matter the consequences to those participating in said entertainment, because it allows them to escape the drudgery of their own lives and the futility that they feel as far as being able to affect things around them. It has never changed. It's always been the case. Now we have football, or we have basketball, or we have garbage TV, or we have cable, or we have YouTube, or we have whatever that allows us to like immerse ourselves in something else so that someone else will fix it. And the problem is the ones who are willing to step forward and say, yeah, I'll fix it. No. No, because they've gotten to the point they're so cynical that they look at us as a whole. They look at us and they say these people don't even want what they say they want. Right? I don't know if y'all remember I said this about dating. I said when I talked back when I was in dating, I never listened to the woman as far as what she wanted. That was never. I learned early. Don't listen to what the hell she's saying as far as what she wants out of a man. You listen to what she's saying as far as in the immediacy, so you know what cues to act off of, right? Because some guys, sorry, I'm going to do a slight pivot. Fellas, when you keep saying that shit where she didn't say no, no can come in like 3,000 different versions. Learn them all and accept them all as no, okay? But anyway, but if you don't listen to what the other person is saying they want in a partner, you pay attention to what they show you they want in a partner, and you satisfy that need. These politicians are like, you guys say you want universal health care, but that's not how you organize. You guys say that you want, us not to be involved in all these foreign wars, but you get mad when we watch people die. You guys say that you don't want, you want your roads fixed and your schools well funded, but you actively vote to reduce your taxes. So I'm not going to listen to what you say. I'm going to watch what you do. And we get the government that we deserve.
I do agree with. But I do have one more example of my point, if I can, if we have time. So Marlon's cousin, Jim Clyburn.
Not my cousin.
He's your cousin. He's your cousin. Stop denying. He's your cousin.
Say it all you want to. Not my cousin.
He's in South Carolina, right? Yeah, he's in South Carolina. And his district was just redrawn. All the districts in South Carolina were just recently withdrawn. redrawn. Guess who worked with the Republican Party to redraw his district, making sure that he wins every future race? Now, if you guessed Marlon's cousin, you would be right.
Not my cousin. Not my cousin.
Mine
not my cousin.
is
not my cousin. Not my cousin. Not my cousin.
He's your cousin.
Not my cousin.
But that's the cynicism that I'm talking about, Tracy. That's the cynicism. He's playing the game based on how the game is run. He's like, hey, the Republicans are going to gerrymander and crowbar their own people in there. So, hey, Democrats, if you want this seat to stay safe, you need to do the same thing for me. And I'll work with anybody to do that. And the Democrats and the Republicans, they get together and they say, okay, look, you can't have North Carolina, but you can have South Carolina. Okay, but we need to make sure that we keep the votes in a certain balance so that no one truly gets too much power. Right? These bargains have always been. That's how the 50 states came into the shape that we have them. That's why you have a North Dakota and the South Dakota and a Virginia and a West Virginia, right? You want to add a state? Is it going to be a free state or a slave state? All right. Well, we're going to add a free state. We got to add a slave state, right? We got to keep this thing balanced. That's how America does things, to protect the status quo. And I say that, and a lot of people hear like status quo like it's a bad thing. And if you're like me and you're an advocate for change, then status quo is a bad thing. But if you are an advocate for peace, stability, relative peace, stability, and consistency, status quo is exactly what you want.
Yeah, because nothing will fundamentally change.
Some people win, some people lose. But at the end of the day, the dollar stays strong. American security is strong. And God bless America and no place else. Right? That's status quo.
All right, everybody. We're coming up to the end of the first hour. We're a little short, but I think if we keep talking, we'll go over. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the first hour here. I appreciate everybody who have been watching, which the numbers was really high at one point. So I appreciate getting those lights up. The more lights that we get, the more it will tell the algorithm that we are live. We're going to go into the second hour with a brand new Am I the A-hole for 2024, my new segment, which I'm still not going to tell you today, but until I actually do it, a Mafia video of the week, and of course, Foxy's video of the week. 3-minute break to reboot and refresh, and we'll see everybody on the other side. Stay tuned.
Wishing I could take a break from this world. Running on a hamster wheel, but searching for something I can't feel. I just wanna be a lost girl and fly. Take a breath, feel my wings spread, levitate above the ground and make eye contact with clouds. Now I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all. I just wanna be free. Finally, I wanna be free. I wanna be free. Finally, I wanna be free. Finally. I always say dreaming, never imagined I lose my spark. Living in this crazy time, putting back the pieces of my mind. I know how to run from the dark and fly. Feel my wings spread, levitate into the clouds. I'm so high above the ground. I'm rising, I'm soaring above it.
me and Anna are back. So
would help if I take myself off mute. Hello.
So we got Thins back. We're just waiting on one more. While we're waiting on her, let's go ahead and pay those bills. Please do not forget to go to buymeacoffee.com/Tracy Media LLC. Help support Tracy in all of her endeavors. Please do not forget to go to Anna Hart's website, BorelliEtc.com. Learn something that you didn't think you need to know, but you should. And as always, if you want to reach me, you could do so at radtp@outlook.com. That's radtp@outlook.com. Alrighty. Let me see here. Who do y'all think will resign first out of the three Congress members currently in their 80s? Pelosi, Clyburn, or Maxine Waters?
If anybody does resign, it would probably be Maxine because she has
Mm-hmm.
other things that she can do. The rest of them
Right.
are going to try to just die in office.
If I had to put it in order, Maxine.
Nancy would probably be second.
Yeah,
she's tried to retire once.
But yeah, okay. Maxine, Pelosi, Clyburn, but I could switch Pelosi and Clyburn either way.
I'm pretty sure Clyburn wants to die in state underneath the rotunda. He wants to die with his shoes on. I mean, they'll all get to lay in state, but I'm pretty sure he wants to just go out, like McConnell. I think McConnell wants to die while in office. I think that's the retirement plan for a lot of them. They want to literally pass away doing the job.
Enjoy your grandkids for some time. Your great grandkids.
Everybody, I had to take my medicine, so I had to get it all prepared.
They only work like half a year, so they got plenty of time.
You really don't. And
well, that's a bit of a misrepresentation because while they're not in DC the entire time, I've tried to follow.
Fundraising.
Yeah, they're fundraising.
They're fundraising, but they're also going to a bunch of different things while they're at home. Well, I get it, and I do agree.
Some of them do. I don't think that's representative because, like mine.
We don't even know where our congressperson is. We haven't had a town hall meeting since he got elected.
But and for me, you could blame that on the polling because that's what they're gonna go with anyway. Whether you believe in polling or not, is hey, why do I really need to talk to you when I could just wait till the next polling come out and read it and make my decision from that? So for the people who say we haven't had a town hall meeting in years. Yeah, probably not. That takes effort. It takes very little effort to read a piece of paper that you actually get on stage and be asked a bunch of questions.
Isn't their job though is to hear from the citizens and hear what's going on?
No, not
really.
No,
that's in the.
Do not mix up old traditions as job recommendations of job requirements. That's too. Tradition was, yes, you want to go talk to the people. Yes, that's what you're supposed to do. That has never been a requirement. No.
You don't even want to talk to the people when they're asking for votes.
Yeah.
No. Hey, if you Jim Clyburn, Marlon's cousin, he'll just cuss you out.
Yeah, they. I mean, he's a we call a gatekeeper. So in his eyes, he should be respected just for simply being. They get offended when you say, "Well, what are you going to do?" And they love to say this one: "I'm just one vote." Well, if you truly believe you're just one vote, why are you in office? Can you please go somewhere else? Because see, I need somebody who goes in there and says that I'm here to help to try to convince others to bring their votes with my vote to get things from my state and to get things for the American people. Can I get one of those people? Can I get a few of them people?
He'll
Right?
cuss you clean out. He'll
Well, I
cuss
mean, I
Yes, he
you
told you.
will.
clean out.
I told you what Clyburn has been doing and
Talk
why
about
he's
your
so
cousin
arrogant
wrong.
enough to sit there and say things like, how dare you question me and everything. Because he lives off of his past accomplishments, which were phenomenal. Not going to take that away from him.
Name 3 things that he accomplished.
During the civil rights movement.
No, I'm saying name 3 things.
Yeah. I don't know that what we can say for him because like his district is still one of the poorest districts
Yeah, his
in
district is
his
supposed
state.
to. What did he accomplish again?
He helped put Biden into office.
No, that's not accomplishing anything for your district if you still the poorest district in your whole state.
One of.
One
But
of. You in the
yeah,
top
but
3.
One of the poorest states in the United States anyway. So,
but here's what he would say to you, I imagine, is him getting Biden, and he didn't even do it. Okay, the media said he did it, right? Because the media appointed him a black leader, and then because he waited till the last minute when it's like a foregone conclusion, and then he said something that's like he did something. No, black folk don't follow him like that. There's a few boomers who do, but for the most part, it ain't enough to move big numbers. But anyway, because he did play the game well, and he did advocate for Biden at the right time, he was able to get South Carolina moved up in the primaries, which means more money comes into his state. He was able to get more businesses into South Carolina because of the favor he was able to his name got elevated, right? So more businesses, more attention. So he was able to do some things, but it wasn't because of his legislative work. It was because of his, ability to wheel and deal.
You scratch my
Right.
back, I'll scratch yours.
Right. So, and in a way, that's a good thing. That's a skill. If you're going to be in a corrupt system, if you know how to navigate that corrupt system, you're much more effective than someone who, is honest and pure and doesn't know the lay of the land. So there's a case to be made. It's just, it's tiring because these people continue to get in office and stay in office because the voting public is too distracted and disenfranchised to change it. Mitch McConnell should never be winning his state anymore. Ted Cruz should never be winning his state anymore. That guy Gonzalez, or I think it's Gonzalez, the one that got busted with all this stuff.
He should.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
place. What you gonna do with gold plates except for go to the pawn shop? Where you
remind me
doing
of
with these things?
He reminded me of the black congressman probably about 15 years ago at this point in Louisiana that got busted with money in his freezer. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys got to be kidding me. But yeah, we vote for him.
No, we do not. I don't live in South Carolina.
We as a collective, we vote for him because, hey, you're not going to agree with me, but I'm just using just math here. Every time that we vote, our vote goes into a pool, and that pool shifts whatever way that it does. And however we chose to put our vote into that pool affects the outcome. So we need to get, if we want to get a better alternative, then we need to be able to organize behind someone that actually has a chance to win with conditions for them when they win, and then we can change the game. That's what the Republicans are doing right now. That's why they got all these weirdos in the House of Representatives right now. They saw the opportunity. They got people who are just as nutty as they want them to be and pushed them on in there.
And I'm going to be honest with you right now, Theo, I know you're going to push back on it because Theo's my brother and you do stuff like that. And to be honest with you, they're losing power. What do they call them? The MAGA 8. The MAGA 8 in the House is losing power because their decision making is becoming less and less popular. Now, no, it is, and I'm gonna tell you why that's good, but not as great as I'm making it out to be at all. Their persuasion and their I literally just got a whatever breaking news that they're voted on a spending bill right now that will keep the country open a little while longer. Just came across.
Yeah, they're just another
just
short
kicking
term.
down the can. Just kicking the can down the road.
But
we do it by 3-month increments now. That's
but
what we do.
Their power is weakening more and more because the Republicans' strength is becoming. I mean, their strength is becoming less and less because the Republican strength is becoming more and more because the traditional Republican Party is more in favor of traditional Republican and not as much as it is for MAGA as it used to be. It is.
Here's why I'll push back at what you just said.
Yeah, I'm gonna push back.
It's kind of like when you say,
can't push back on it because I'm not finished yet.
Oh, I thought that you said that they were losing power, but go ahead.
The reason why I say this is not good news is because I said MAGA and Republican. Literally is not honestly the same thing. Never thought that to begin with.
It's the same thing.
But you have to remember when I said, why is everybody so mad at Biden when Biden said we're going to go back to the status quo, and then when we went back to the status quo, everybody got pissed off. This is what the status quo was. Okay, Republicans want their status quo back. Okay, do y'all remember what the Republican status quo was? Before MAGA, before Trump, before all of this stuff. Do y'all remember what Republicans' status quo was?
Not really, because you now have gone back 20 years because now you predated the Tea Party.
Yeah, you done gone back to Reagan. You might as well go back.
To get to where you were going, you're going back to George Bush Sr. and Reagan.
Let's go back to Reagan on up to before Trump.
That's 40 years, dog.
Good. What was different in the 40 years between Reagan and...
Reagan was a tad smarter than Trump. That's pretty much the only difference.
Trump basically just picked up Reagan's playbook and dusted off and ran it. Like play for play. Just did it in the new era.
I don't ever remember Ronald Reagan saying the Mexicans, they don't send their best and their brightest.
He didn't say that, but what he did do is deport a large number of Mexicans.
But
What he did do, huh?
Who deported the most?
If I'm not sure I quite follow.
Who deported
Obama, I guess. Okay, but what does that say?
They're playing from the same play. Every president since Reagan is some iteration of Reagan. You have Reagan.
So let me
go ahead.
Gotta unpack that some. Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to do it on this show tonight because we'll be
numbers are a funny thing. To say that someone did more of something in 2010 than someone did in 1980, unless you're going to adjust per capita, the raw numbers are going to lie to you because there's more people, right? And then you look at what was the reason and the spirit behind what was going on, what was the economic situation in those times. At the end of the day, America needs to get its immigration thing under control, and no one is being fair or honest about how it needs to be done. You know, like they're just not. But I don't want to monopolize too much more time, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, we got to move on. This is supposed to be the lighthearted hour of the show, but thank you for the.
I thought this was the serious one. Yesterday was the fun one.
Okay, good. I have
I'm trying to understand.
We're not serious. Jeez.
Oh, I'm sorry. We literally, me and Tracy were just talking about the hype about the whole Cat Williams nonsense and how that's
let's go with that.
Not opportune. So I'm sorry if I don't like frivolous things.
Did you know
that's how I've been as long as you've known me.
Unit? I mean, how silly do you want us to go here? Do you know that Taraji P. Henson complained about the salad she made with Color Purple and yet still appeared in the Color Purple? Which is a
She gotta get
musical.
paid. She gotta get paid.
I'm just saying, Marlon
You're
said.
right. Never mind. Go ahead, Theas. I just don't care. Go ahead, Theas.
No, don't throw a fit, man. Go ahead and move on with the fun stuff. I was just saying, I'm just saying, I misunderstood.
I will start it back off then. So what I was saying was from Reagan all the way to George W. Bush, which is who was. How the heck did I forget that was who was after Clinton? How did I forget that whole? Here come Florida again, voting to
The Chad, the
their
hanky
president. Yeah,
Chad.
how the
Oh,
heck
I'll
did I
never
forget
forget
that? So from Reagan to George W. Bush, the whole Republican status quo. So that's what I was saying. So now you can take it from there. What I was saying, be very careful when I wasn't sitting here going, hoorah, the MAGAs are losing power and the Republicans are gaining power again, because I remember from Reagan to George W. Bush, it wasn't the greatest thing for a certain people in this country.
Well, conservative logic, conservative ideology for someone like me is automatically bad anyway. Because to be conservative is you were trying to preserve something that is and trying to get back to something that was. And that's not how time works. It's never worked that way. It doesn't work that way in the animal kingdom, the human kingdom. It just doesn't work. You do need conservatives, though, to temper change, because change run amok can lead you to straight chaos too. So that's why you need all these different voices in the room. But the current Republican Party, like you were saying, Republicans are not MAGA and MAGA is not quite Republican, like you can't put them all together. Yeah, you can at this point. And the analogy I would use for that is Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders lost every time he ran for president. As an individual, he lost. But what Bernie accomplished every time he ran for president is he pulled the Democratic Party more towards the progressive means. That is why you have a Biden who does progressive things when we know that is not his modus operandi. That's not how he does business. But Bernie was successful in creating a voting energy that forces the Democratic Party to at least try to do a few things here and there. That is what MAGA has done to the Republicans. The MAGA was so far out there that it pulled the rest of the Republicans closer to their lunacy. So now that the what do you call it, the vanguard, the Boberts, the Marjorie, right? They can fade away now because they were the original assault team, because they accomplished their job. Their job was to make the rest of the Republican Party more like them. And now you have the full Republican Party, lock, stock, and barrel, supporting Donald Trump despite it all. That's why I say they're the same. And that's why I say they're not losing power. They did what they came to do.
Okay, let me give you an example. And I'm going to need your help. Who was the former Speaker of the House before he was kicked out?
McCarthy.
Yeah,
Thank
McCarthy. I was thinking Boehner. I was like, no,
McCarthy had a chance to literally pass the bill to keep the country open. What he didn't want to do, didn't try to do, was strong arm the MAGA 8, which was really the only group who was using their power to not do it. Why you don't want to do it? Because it makes Biden look bad. Yada yada yada. So it didn't pass. They got mad. They kicked McCarthy out. They got the new Speaker of the House. The new Speaker of the House tried to work with the MAGA 8. We need to pass this bill. We definitely need to pass this bill. We surely need to pass this bill. They kept saying no. The Speaker of the House said, okay, well, then I'm going to go work with the Democrats. And guess what happened? The bill passed. Guess what the MAGA 8 did? Absolutely nothing. Why? You couldn't do nothing.
That was one fight, dog. And then you think about it, they did the same thing.
That's the one fight that we know of, and that's the one thing that I've been saying for the longest time that you yourself have been saying. We don't have to know every freaking thing that's going on because we are so used for everything that's going on in Congress and the Senate because of Trump and the MAGAs and everything, that everything has to be blowhard to everybody or what's
No, this was a little different, bro.
Well,
this was a little different.
Is it? Because I can literally, I'm actually going to put a show together where I can show you what Biden has been doing behind the curtain that's not being reported at all because it's not being played across news media all the time.
You pivoting too much on me, dog. We were just talking about the House. How we end up on Biden?
Because
I gotta know which one I'm fighting.
I'm saying the blowhorn mentality of everything that's being done does not have to be I can't even make that.
No, I agree with you there.
Statement anymore. The revolution doesn't have to be televised. It just doesn't have to be reported while stuff is going on behind the scenes. Now,
I agree with that.
And I get that because as the president, but I'm the Senate and the Congress and everything else.
But here's where I differ. I agree with you, kind of. First of all, there is no revolution happening in Congress or the presidency, so they ain't shit to televise. But
oh my God.
What is it that think about it. Think about this. What is it that traditionally, even with us having a divided government, happened? Each year they would fight, they would do brinksmanship, they would, threaten to shut down the government. Sometimes they would shut down the government. But what came out of it was a year-long bill for the budget. A year. They did it for the whole year. You are now saying, but behind closed doors, they were able to work out another 90-day extension. The third 90-day extension. That's not. No, sir. No.
I say on to the next topic because I got to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Facts. With you. Sorry.
I don't want to be falling asleep on the podcast. Be like,
no, I'm going to move on because, like I said, fortunately, unfortunately, my grandkids slept with my wife in bed, and I slept in the man cave. So, I'm literally running on fumes here.
I'll be right back. I gotta get some Advil.
Sorry, go ahead. So let's go ahead with Am I the A-hole? I promise you, I did not do this on purpose. I really didn't. I was just looking up the stories and, over the holiday season, just building my reserves so I can quickly and easily just go ahead and put them on the show and keep going. It is not my fault that the very first Am I the A-hole of 2024 to me happened to also be the very first Worst Person of the Year award nomination. Trigger warning. There are a lot of things that this person said during it. There was a stillborn also involved in this. So if you do not want to watch this, I truly understand it. Come back later after the show, or if you just want to drop off, I completely understand too. Just hit that like button before you leave. So anyway, just go ahead. We're going to go ahead into it. Sister wants me at her wedding.
My half-sister and I share a mom. She's 9 years older than me. I'm a 17-year-old girl. My half-sister's dad died when she was 5. And then, 3 years later, my mom remarried to my dad and got pregnant with me straight away. Up until I was 10, I thought that my sister was the best person ever, and I wanted us to have a relationship like my friends had with their siblings. But she's rejected me as not being her real sister from day one. She also rejects my dad as anything other than my mother's F-buddy, and she called him that to his face and in front of other people. My dad always lets it slide, and my mom will tell her that we're a family, to which my half-sister will say that she and my mom are family, but my dad and I are not. When I was 6 years old, my mother had a 6-month pregnancy and with a stillborn. She had my grandma come over to watch my half-sister and me while she was in the hospital, and we were told something happened to our brother. I was really upset because I'd been so excited and I wanted comfort from my half-sister. She told me to grow the F up and to stay away from her. She also told me that it was a shame the same thing didn't happen when Mom was expecting me. Grandma was horrified and told her that she would regret saying that, but my half-sister told her that she wouldn't regret saying that about someone that she didn't love. The breaking point was that Christmas when I was 10. She decided to stay with a different family member for Christmas, but did show up to our grandparents for Christmas Day celebrations. I was excited to see her, and I thought the fact that she showed up meant that she might like me now. But after I tried talking to her, she turned on me and said that she didn't give an F about me or my life, and she didn't want me to know anything about her life. She called me pathetic and asked why would she care about someone like me. She told me that if she could turn back time, she would have begged my mom to have an abortion with me because I was disgusting. I think this is when I hit the point where I was like, you know what? Fine. Over the last 7 years, I've seen her maybe 3 times. She avoids being wherever I'm gonna be, and she's made it clear to Mom that if Mom wants to see her, Dad and I are not welcome and we are not invited into her life. Except now she's getting married, and she invited me and she wants me at the wedding because apparently people are asking questions. Mom was so happy when my half-sister told me that she really wanted me there. My mom was so eager to tell me. My half-sister even showed up to invite me personally, but I told her that I won't go. She explained that she needed me and why, and I told her that I'm not going to make her look better by showing up. I said she wants me dead, and I don't want her in my life, so it's as simple as that. Mom cried, saying that we're siblings, and I told my mom that I lost my only sibling when my brother was stillborn. That he would have been my only sibling, because my half-sister sure as shit wasn't a sibling for me. She made it clear many times over that she didn't want to be my sister. My half-sister and my mom both feel like I'm really in the wrong. Am I the butthole?
Let me say this real quick, and I promise I will give it over to the panel. I'm pretty sure some of these Am I the A-hole stories is basically you're just getting stuff off your chest and everything else. But I can guarantee you one thing. If I have gone my whole life with my half-sister basically wishing I was dead, and at a certain point in my early teens or early 20s or anything else, that she comes to me and asks me for a favor, I don't even know what I would do. It would be good, but I don't know what I would do. Now I'm gonna put that to the side real quick, because that's the sister. I'm gonna get on the mom. Mother dearest, you knew what your daughter, how your daughter was treating your daughter. Okay? And we're not talking about a year or 2 years or whatever. Years with a big long X. And pretty much what you really want is your younger daughter to suck it up and just Forgive or forget. I don't even think you know. I don't even think you want her to forgive or forget. I just don't want you. I just think you want her to go through the status quo because you just really want to keep peace so much with this vow of a sister, half sister of hers, that you think all of a sudden, after all this time, it's going to be a lovely family. Newsflash. She shows up to the wedding, everybody sees her, and as soon as the wedding's over, she'll treat her like trash again. It's just that simple. You did not step up as a mother. Okay? I'm going to tell you that right now. You did not step up as a mother. Now, OP never said anything about the father or anything. I don't know why. I don't know what his take on the only thing. The only thing she was talking about was the mother. But you really need to understand that if you keep pushing this, you're going to lose that daughter. You really are. Because now she's going to see you in a different light. Because now she's going to see you of no matter how much my half sister treated me like, and this is the second hour, so I can say it, treated me like shit for all my damn life. You want to move on and pretend nothing happened. So, yeah, as time goes on, she's going to start pulling away from you too. I ain't going to say no contact and blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying she's not going to be as cordial as Norm in your life. Because now all she's going to realize is she don't give a rat's ass about my feelings, right or wrong, or how she feel. You don't give a rat's ass about my feelings. You more or less give a rat's ass more about the damn monster that you gave birth to. You're not the a-hole. I'm going just in it like that. I would not show up at the wedding. Go fuck yourself, sister, and I'm out. That's it.
Oh,
All I got is actions have consequences.
yeah. She was abusive from go. And you cannot expect that everything magically gets better because you get married.
You're muted.
No, you're not. You are not. I'm really sorry that happened. Protect yourself, protect your mental health. And I hope that mother understands one day how much she contributes to the situation. Tracy?
You're still
You're
muted.
muted, honey. You're muted.
Yeah,
She looks around the room.
I'm like, where? I couldn't. My eyes are heavy. Okay, I'm trying to stay awake here. The only reason she asked the sister to be in the wedding is because people were asking questions and she didn't want to look bad. Nobody is sitting here playing charades with you, lady. You don't like the sister. You don't want the sister in your life. Mom, I get where you're going, but you know what? You can go. You grown. You an adult. But this is me. I'm not going. You've already told me you wish I was aborted. So what's the point? And I don't know how old she was when she said this, but who lets their child say that to their other child? Who's around here saying this?
How do you stop him?
I don't know how do you stop it, but hey, try.
Talk to them.
Yeah.
I mean, I
I
know
mean,
what
that's all well and good.
I know what
I'm not.
Liz is saying, but it doesn't even seem like there was any effort whatsoever put to it. So I don't have a magic bullet of how do you stop somebody from doing this, but sitting around and letting it happen is not one of the answers.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I'm just saying that we don't. This story does not give you any insight as far as what the parents tried or didn't try to do. It was
Right.
her telling her experience with this a horrible sibling, right? And along this time, I didn't pick up on the timeline here. I think they were at least 10 years apart, something like that. Um, that's the only timeline I think I kind of got out of the story. And then
I think there was a 10
within,
years apart, and I think she fell out permanently with her when OP was 10. So if it's 10 years apart, oh
So
my
they're
God.
both children.
So if there was 10 years apart, and that means there's a 20-year-old telling a 10-year-old, I wish he was dead.
so, but wait, is a 10-year-old or a 15-year-old? I'll say I'm going to make up some numbers. I'm going to say she was like 15 telling a 5-year-old, I wish you were dead, right? Because the stillborn happened like 5 or 6 years in. So that's a child who is dealing with the trauma of losing her biological father and almost immediately being given a new father and sibling. That child's trauma was never truly addressed, from what I can tell. So that child was acting as a child. And something that's broken without actual care tends not to heal properly. So she continues in this vein. So she hates anything that has to do with her mother marrying this man. And her sibling comes with that. So she could be 20, 30, 40 years old. She is still anchored in her trauma. So she will forever be 10 years old when it comes to certain things. So, not excusing her behavior towards her sibling, I'm saying this speaks to what's going on. And then the mother. We don't know what the mother did or didn't do, but what we do know is that the mother has lost a husband. She then lost a child. So she's dealing with double doses of traumatic loss. I don't know how well she was functioning as she was navigating being a mother and a spouse and a grieving parent and a grieving widow, right? So it's not that, to me anyway, it's not that clean. The only thing that's clean here is your sister, for whatever reasons, treated you like garbage, and no, you don't need to be at that wedding because you don't want to be there, and that's fine. That is 100% your way. But the way everybody was talking about the mom failed and this, that, I don't know. That part wasn't told us.
Let me push back on one thing that you were saying, because normally I would agree with you except for one thing. I would agree with everything, literally everything that you went through, except for the one part at the very end. All that trauma and grief, that everything that sister was going to, where the hell is it now that you want her at the wedding to save face?
Because it isn't about her sister. It's about herself.
Yeah,
you never dealt with selfish people?
Okay,
selfish people ain't worried about all that.
No. I need you to still hold on to that same trauma that treated me like shit for all my damn life.
So you don't understand trauma?
No, not like that.
You don't understand or respect trauma then. What I said in my response, I said, don't go to the wedding. Just like you said. Because at the end of the day, the treatment you received is real. Right? I was only explaining that we're dealing with an adult who is dealing with a lot of trauma as a child that doesn't sound like it was actually addressed. So they're going to be a not so good person. And that means they're not a so good person. Don't mess with them. Stay away from them.
Or she says she's gonna go to the wedding and then doesn't show up.
Get fitted for the dress and just don't come.
No, we're not, well, that she's being petty.
Of course I'm being petty.
She's being petty.
I'm sleepy.
But to allow another child to be traumatized is a failure to the abused child as a parent.
Didn't say it wasn't.
But there has to be an answer to it, and granted,
what answer? What's the question?
OP never really did say was anything done, so we would always look at it as, hey, nothing was done.
You know, one thing I would love for people to get to when it comes to trauma, especially emotional trauma. Physical trauma oftentimes transfers into emotional trauma, but especially when we're talking about emotional trauma, oftentimes there is no fixing it. It's not like your toy broke, you know. There's no fixing it. You can help someone learn to cope, help someone heal, all these different things, but there's no fixing it. This person she treated her sister the way she treated her sister. You can't undo none of that. None of it. You can only build from here forward or leave it alone. I personally think, such as the dysfunction and the pain, leave it alone. Like you said, Marlon, keep that energy. You didn't want me to be your sister. Let's not pretend you want me to be your sister now. Even if you do, you wasted that opportunity.
Yeah, only because people are asking questions. Not because she wants to reconcile. Not because she thinks, I was really wrong for that. I was really childish of me. Nope. Because people are asking questions.
And later on, she may have a true heartfelt epiphany and truly seek to have closure with her little sister. And her little sister still has every right to reject it and move on about her business.
Yep.
Just because you say sorry, just because you are truly apologetic, just because you have truly changed, does not mean anyone else is responsible for your trauma, your healing, your journey. They got their own to deal with. So, I mean, please, y'all out there, don't miss what I'm saying. I think I'm agreeing mainly with everybody is saying. At the end of the day, I'm just trying to add some context that everybody in this thing is human. Everybody in this is human. And it doesn't take away from the complexity of what the mom was going through or the complexity of what the sister was going through. It's like sometimes we have a tendency for the person who gave us the story to see them in three-dimensional light, but then the people that are in the story, we only see them in two dimensions.
And you got to understand something about this show for people that's new here. It's very rare that we disagree on the ending. I mean, it really is. I've looked through some of our old shows. It's very rare that we disagree on the ending. What our disagreement has always been is on the journey to the ending. Is that what we disagree on? We always come to the same conclusion.
I have a kind heart.
Okay, now, you know what?
I'm finna move on. I'm not even gonna say nothing. It's Sunday. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, non-conforming individuals, I have been teasing this since yesterday that I have decided to add a new segment to the show. The new segment to the show is because of some of the things that we went through 2023. That we put on a lot of shows on here that's very negative, very hateful, very toxic, and everything else. So my new segment is I am going to put on a positive story per week. Something that we can grasp on, something kind, something nice, something that's more laid back than anything. Instead of always just going negative, especially on a Sunday, especially into the new week. It's just not fair. So our very first positive story of the week.
Now, I'm pretty much a fixture in my local grocery store. Almost every day I'm in there because I like to cook, but I don't always remember to get all the ingredients and have to go back. I'm in the grocery store so much, I know most of the staff by name. A couple of my neighbors even work there. But anyway, I was walking around the aisles picking up beef broth, vegetables, and whatnot when I saw a lady wandering the aisles aimlessly. So I thought I would be considerate and ask her if I could help her. The elderly lady was looking for baking goods. I know the store like the back of my hand and know where it is. As we walked to the baking aisle, we struck up a conversation. The sweet elderly lady asked me if I would help her with her shopping because she had never been in the store before. I said sure, why not? I wasn't in a big hurry. I mean, I live in the apartments right behind the store. I mean, actually behind the store. I can stand on my patio, take off a shoe, and actually hit the back of it. We wound up doing all of her shopping together. She began to tell me about her kids and grandkids, and she was soon to be a great-grandmother. She's a very pleasant woman. I actually learned a few things she told me that she had seen in her lifetime. We walked the aisles, taking the items on her list and throwing them in the shopping cart, and she would check the items off. Finally, about half an hour later, we proceeded to check out. I told her I'd be right back because I almost forgot what I'd gone there for. As I returned to the register, the elderly lady was telling the manager what a nice employee I was and didn't want me to get in trouble for taking up my time. Dean, the manager, smiled and told her that I don't work there. The elderly lady looked at me puzzled and apologized to me for taking up so much of my personal time. I told her that I was in no rush and that I live in the apartments nearby. It turns out she just moved several apartments away across the apartment complex. We walked home to our apartments. She smiled and asked me why I helped her if I didn't work there. I told her that my parents raised me to help others without reward. I gave her the groceries. I told her if she needed help or wanted to go shopping, let me know. The elderly woman said she did her shopping every Monday and if I wouldn't mind going and accompanying her. I told her it was very kind of her to try and keep me from getting fired even though I don't work there. So now I have a shopping buddy and someone to talk with and share coupons. I know this doesn't have a screaming entitled Karen or Brad, but I just wanted to share this I don't work here story, so thanks for reading. Have a great day.
Are
you saying no, Anna?
That was very sweet. And no, I don't need to leave.
Okay. I just want to start doing this every Sunday as we go into the new week. We don't have to always go into Monday with such negative, story that's going on. And when I say stuff like that, it's not like I am trying to divert what's going on in this country. You couldn't. I'm the person that puts the stuff up on this show. Not Javier, me. So I know the stuff that's going on in this country. So I know the negative stuff that's going on in this country. And I've told you from the beginning, I'm not going to sit there and pretend that it's not going on just to, nicey. But having said that, come on, folks. It is some good things that's going on in this country. It is some good things that's going on in other people's lives. So why we always have to be vigilant, my old catchphrase, brunch is still canceled. Get back to work. We can't exclude all the positive things that are going on. And we need to celebrate that as few and far in between as it is. So I will be starting to put on more positive stories.
I like it.
Tracy, do you want to just go to bed, honey? Because I don't want to keep you up. You could go.
I think that was a really nice story. I think that it illustrates the importance of being human and understanding that everybody is every bit as complicated as you are, and you never know who just needs a kind word or just a moment of your time. That's my serious statement. I truly believe that it's what motivates me with all that I do in my personal life. And I hope it's what you guys pick up on when I'm giving my comments when I'm on here. I believe that you have to have a heart and you have to have concern for other people, right? Now, for what you came here for.
Here we go.
This is a really nice old lady, and I'm glad they made a connection. But I hope he keeps his head on the swivel because he has now told her where he lives, and she comes from an organized ring of identity thief grandparents. So That's why she lives in this apartment, because her thievery is what allows her to pay her bills. And then she's just going to get closer and closer to him. And next thing you know, he doesn't have a 401k. He doesn't have investments. He just rents late. It's just watch out, man.
You know what? To be honest with you, Thiz, yeah, everything you did. Knowing you for over the years, I knew you was gonna be nice and kind and everything else, especially the things that you're doing and the reason that you're doing it for. I also knew you was gonna come up with a joke. It wasn't a joke I thought you was gonna come up with, though.
What you thought?
I thought you was gonna come up with the joke of the grandma that kidnapped another one, and here we go again. And now you walked another dude into staying with you and everything else.
What if it was that same grandmother?
Or it's the same ring. It's the same ring. This is their MO. This is how they get close to you, man.
So the grandmother in this story is in the same ring as the grandmother that's from the restaurant.
Yep. They go looking for people that are employees and then try to get close to them, find out they're actually more than employees. In one case, it was an owner, and in this case, it's someone who has an entirely different profession. He's a very good cook. He enjoys doing these things. So they're just working around the system, and then there you go.
Wow. But to get serious for a moment, there is a really big need for elder care in this country right now. Got a lot of boomers who are approaching the end of their life, and we do not have enough caregivers. We do not even have enough family members in some cases. I've been looking through this one young influencer's videos. He is from a Filipino family. He did college for nursing, and immediately when he graduated, he decided to become his grandmother's caregiver. And he documents a lot about this journey, and there are some beautiful feel-good moments. I'll try to find them, but there's also, these are the realities, and yes, there's some incredibly tough things about it. Not everybody's meant to be a caregiver, but many people out there who are thinking, I don't know what I can do. In so many states, you can become a caregiver. There are people who are waiting on the list. So a little bit of classes, and in a lot of cases, your state will provide it. You can become a professional caregiver. In a lot of states, there's very reasonable compensation for this, because even when they give somebody like $30 an hour, they're still saving money as opposed to putting that person in a home. So just for those people who, if you're not sure where you're gonna go, and if you can lend a hand, that would be a really great way, because it's a big need. We have a lot of elders who are sitting with no visitors.
Yep. Thank you for sharing that, and I fully agree, fully 100% endorse what Anna just said. And funny you say that, not funny, haha, funny, ironic. That's actually part of my business plan with our United Corp. Now it's a little bit further down the road. It's probably about 2 years out. But yeah, focusing on not just the need for providing assistance to personal care, right? So you have the caretakers. The caretakers need caretakers, right? They need time away. They need support. They need community. They need all these things because it's incredibly draining. It's incredibly exhausting. Like Tracy shared some of her experience with us in the past. Anna has shared some of hers. So I'm really passionate about that and getting that started. Well, everything takes money and everything takes time. And then within that, actually building up the people who are willing to be these caretakers, right? You know, oftentimes we require the most from those who get the least. So more often than not, your caretakers are CNAs, and CNAs don't often get paid very well, and they do the most unpleasant tasks that a person would need to do. And oftentimes their aspirations of moving forward are stunted. So that's another part of what CORE will be doing is helping those people who do have a desire to become paramedics or become RNs or something like that, helping them move along that path as well. So thank you for highlighting that. I hope to play my particular role in helping to get that moving forward as well. Because I mean, the need is big. And for my one little political moment, y'all, remember there's a big push to reform. What's the term they call it? It's like your entitlements. The big push to reform entitlements, reform Social Security. Yep. Well, a big part of Social Security is paying for your loved one to be in a home. So if they cut that benefit like they're meaning to do, that means they got to come back to you. Now, can you give up your job? Can you give up your income? Can you do these things and be able to care for someone and care for yourself at the same time? 90% of us cannot do that. We will need help. So it's important that we actually care about each other and work together to do some things.
Well said.
Okay, cool. So my segment was a success.
Yes, Mama. Your statement was perfect.
You did it.
You did that, sir.
Not Javier.
Yes.
That's because you fired Javier.
Yes.
In fact, I think Javier is no longer with us.
No, he didn't make it.
I don't think he made it.
First the ear and then
cannot confirm nor deny that statement. Mafia video of the week.
Oh, and when I say he's no longer with us, I mean like he just moved out of the country.
Yeah.
Well, then maybe gay Javier.
Marlon got him deported.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, Marlon.
Wow, Trace. What?
Called ICE. Be like, come get him. He's here illegally.
One birthday, you just flip on me. I tell you, boy.
Probably invited him to lunch so that he knew exactly where he would be, so ICE could get him too.
Oh shit.
Now, what is Javier supposed to do? He's got a wife and some children.
Had a wife.
We will set up a GoFundMe for Javier.
Fuck Javier.
So he's not denying that he got Javier deported.
Wow.
Nope. No, I heard no denials there, Tracy.
That was wrong.
I cannot confirm nor deny. Anyway, let's go on. Mafia video of the week.
There's a cry across the heartland, a yearning for the days gone by. And in little old Corden, Indiana, they're happy and they'll tell you why. They got butt drugs, they love butt drugs, butt drugs, butt drugs.
I love butt drugs. I recommend butt drugs for everybody.
I can always count on butt drugs.
When I think drugs, I think butt drugs. For all my health needs, I turn to butt drugs.
You want hometown service and cheap hot coffee and liquor. Now that's the ticket. You can tell Walmart, CVS, and Walgreens exactly where to stick it. Butt drugs.
We love butt drugs.
Butt drugs won't let you down.
Free parking in the rear. I love butt drugs.
Indiana, once again. Just why?
Well, they do say that if you take certain medications up the rectal canal, it absorbs into the bloodstream faster.
It does.
Yeah.
Like college students who like drink alcohol through their butthole.
And die.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go for it.
Parking in
Can
the
you
rear.
imagine if they were like filling out the paperwork and really their name was Putt with a P? And then somebody messed up the paperwork and it came back instead of Putt drugs.
I just want to know, what did the state of Indiana do to you? What?
It's his name. The people's name is Butt.
And I could go one step
You
further.
think I've never
You don't
seen
have to make a
any.
mistake. You do realize back in the days they used to write prescriptions on their little tablet with their company name on it, and if
I
you're
want a
giving
prescription bottle that says butt drugs.
Butt
That's
drug.
awesome.
Now I got to sit here, go get my car, ride to Corridon, which is in the south. Yep. Now I got to figure out, this place real.
Just Google it.
Google. Yeah.
Now you're probably going to find a lot of interesting responses.
Tracy's going to
classify that with Corridon.
Yeah, don't click on any links. You're probably going to get a virus. Just
Pharmacy.
throw that out there.
Was that butt with 2 T's or 1?
It was 2.
It's 2 T's, no E.
No E. Just a butt. The first time I thought that my hearing heard
Tracy
butt
Tracy gonna
plugs.
be upset because she's gonna see that. Yep, it's real, folks. It is a real place.
Their website is buttdrugs.com.
Been around since the 60s. Yep.
Yeah. Because back then, people weren't tripping because your name was Butt. But to come the 80s, whole new world.
Butt Drugs announced it's going to close its doors in April 20th, 2023.
Oh.
That's what it says here.
Well, that means nobody need any more butt drugs.
I guess they left the butt open too long.
Yep, Southern Indiana's iconic butt drugs announces its closing.
Yeah.
They was in business 71 years.
Wow.
That's a lot of time to keep the back door open.
Oh, this is
all the parking in the rear. Yeah. Mike,
got
can
wore
you
out.
read come? I can't
If
do
you
that.
read a little further though, Tracy, they actually are reopening.
Katie Butt Beckford is one of the owners.
I've never heard that. I've seen a lot of last names in my genealogy research.
William H. Butt was the
Come from a long line of proctologists.
Butt was a given game, you know, she said. It was a given name.
Yeah, that's their family name.
Boy, could you imagine going through elementary school with that last name?
It wouldn't be a big deal. Nowadays, it'd be rough.
It would literally be a big deal.
You're a butt.
Yeah, I have a friend.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to tell her story. But anyway, her name was, with her name and her married name, it would have become like a joke.
Oh dear.
So she was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna do that."
I'm gonna be social real quick, and then we're gonna have to move on because I see it so much.
Oh, wait a minute, Marlon. Go ahead.
We're more progressive. We're more realistic now. We've gotten a little better, and like I said, traditional trinkle trinkle, because it didn't come as a big pour as everybody expected. But there are a lot of players. I always like to look at when the NFL, when they do the announcement of players and everything. Well, I'm such and such and from such and such and everything else. I always like to look at their last name. And you do not realize that some of the people's last name were gay. And I went,
Yeah.
oh, we would say darn near much to nothing now. But now let's think back to the 80s and 90s when we grew up and realize the dude's last name was a guy's last name is gay.
I had a great grandmother who had the name Funk. F-U-N-K.
First on the face of the planet. Her last name was Funk.
Funk. Her name is Sarah Funk.
She grew up in the 70s. She would be the most popular person in the freaking city. Are you serious?
I'm serious with the last name.
You grew up in the 70s and your last name was Funk, you would be untouchable.
Well, I got
nobody would mess with you.
I just got to read here because
Okay,
Miss Beckford Butt says, while saying goodbye to butt drugs can feel like a kick in the butt, Beckford chooses to look in the rearview mirror and remembers the happy memories in the shop. I'm done. I can't with this. I can't with this. I'm going to bed. That's it. I'm going to bed. I gotta be up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Y'all done made me sick.
It's just a name.
Good night, love. Are you going?
No.
Oh. Sorry.
Yep. It's the butt. Self-care in the name. All right, watch these videos of
That's when you start pronouncing it's boot.
All right, one last political thing that we're going to do tonight, and I didn't bring it up because as of right now, it's a little blip. I want to wait and see what's going on. But in most polls, Nikki Haley is leading Donald Trump when it comes to the Republican nomination for presidency. However,
when did she surpass him?
In some polls, but her campaign has surpassed Trump. Her campaign contribution has surpassed Trump. Some of the polls do have her ahead of Trump for Republican nomination for president. I have absolutely no idea why.
I always get the hard questions. What caused the Civil War? A, slavery. B, definitely slavery. C, the answer is slavery. Or D, the government. I'm going to go with D, the government.
But she has black friends, and that's what we keep forgetting.
Black friends?
She had. No, she didn't say she has. She said she had. Like this is in the past.
Yeah, like Tim Scott. But here's the thing about her, right? Okay. First of all, have you ever seen presidential polls that were not tight? Have you ever seen the media not create a horse race out of national elections? They will always do it. So in order to keep the people interested, they make sure they play with the polls. Because it all comes down to who did you ask? What was the sample size? What were the questions, right?
Yeah.
Like it's deeper than just what the result is. And then, so yeah, you asking never Trumpers, and then they're like, yeah, Nikki Haley. Okay. All right. What would be sad to me is Nikki does somehow beat out Trump for the primary. For the nomination. And then, because she's younger and she's a woman, beats Biden. Now, a Nikki Haley presidency, I don't know what we would get because I don't know who she is. Right? This lady
doesn't know
switches.
who she is.
She switches in the same speech. She'll switch 3 times. Like, I would rather see Chris Christie beat her and Trump and Biden. I can function through Christie for 4 years and then just do something else. Or Biden wins. And either one of them I could deal with.
No.
And I don't even like Christie.
It's the snake I can't deal with. It's the snake.
He ain't got a chance. He ain't got a chance. He's only worried about, making sure that he can make money off of these people going forward. But I don't Vivek Ramaswamy.
Go ahead.
Yeah. But I would rather see Biden win because he's actually done a good job. If not him, Christie, because while I don't agree with his conservative politics, he does speak straight at you, right? And he's reasonable. Like, he's a rational creature. He just has a different set of priorities than I do. I don't know what Nikki Haley stands for from 1 minute to the next. I just don't. And Trump is self-explaining.
Yeah, from that small pool, I would also say Chris Christie would be the easiest to survive, but
we're talking about 5%, Chris Christie.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, that guy.
Oh yeah.
Just want to make sure we're
what the funny thing about it is everybody jumping on him with that. Christie has literally said, though, he's not running to actually win. He was running to actually stop Trump.
Yeah.
So everybody can joke about 5% and everything else. He knew he wasn't going to win. He just wanted to be a speed bump for Trump.
And he's not accomplished.
Granted, hey, Christie, come here, Christie. Dude, you're not funny. Okay, just ease up on the jokes because none of them lands. You've tried 3 times, 3 of them went flat as a pancake.
Conservatives aren't funny.
The topics and jump on Trump and jump on Trump on his policies and the things that he's going through. But stop with you trying to joke. And Nikki, I don't even like you because I don't even know who the hell you are. You Nikki Monday compared to Nikki Tuesday. I have no idea who you are. But I advise you to not, because Nikki is now trying to go after Trump too. I advise you not to be as jokey either. Like, just stick to what you know, the policies and procedures, because obviously it's working. I never understood people that go, oh, this is working. Let me change gears. No, it's working till it doesn't work. Not, it's working. So let me be like my opponent. You can't.
Well, she's never going to go at Trump because she can't decide.
She wants to be vice president.
No, she's
right. She can't decide.
She's gone after him, but it was more of a political stance. And I kept looking at her like, okay,
she's
that's
not.
cool. That was a cool political stance against Trump. But I know where you're going with your political stance. Don't do that.
No, that's my point. Like, she's not going at Trump. She'll do a lighthearted glancing shot at him, like DeSantis does. He was a great president for his time, but now it's a new time, and we blah 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 blah, right? Or because she's already pledged that she'll pardon him, right?
Yeah.
So she's not, right? I don't know that she's trying to be VP. I think she'll take it if it's offered to her, but I know she wants to be in the cabinet. Or if she doesn't want to be in the cabinet, then she wants to make sure she can continue to make money off of the Republican Party. So she's walking that line. So she won't burn the bridge. That's where her money's going to come from. Win or lose, she needs the Republican Party to continue making money.
Yeah.
So she's trying to play the game. So you can't do it. Christie, on the other hand, is like, yo, y'all don't like me anyway. So I'm just going to tell you what it is. It'd be, nah, that wouldn't work.
Ted Cruz jumps in the race. Whoa.
I don't see Ted doing it, but like, it would have been nice. Not everybody was talking about Liz Cheney getting in, but really, I would have liked to see Adam Kinzinger. But I think he's looking for 4 years down the road. I think it's going to be him and Gavin going head to head at some point in the future.
As important as this next election is, it is. I know people are sick and tired.
Well, if this election if this election goes to Trump, there won't be a 2028.
Yeah,
people keep saying that. Of course,
because he said so. Because he said so.
That's that question, Tracy. Because I was such messed up in the 2020 election.
We're going to have a 2028. I wish people. That's just a scary
really? Really? Let's flesh that out real quick. He said he wants to suspend the Constitution, and his party supports it, and his elected officials support it. So if they get the House and the Senate, they can do whatever they want to do. So yes, if he gets his way, he can suspend the Constitution. Suspend the Constitution, you don't have to have an election, or you don't have to have a fair election. Either way, he still gets to stay in. Also, the man also has already said that he doesn't trust voting, and so he wants to completely get rid of the FBI, get rid of the anybody who oversees elections. So if you get rid of that, how do you make sure you have an election in 2028? So while it's hopefully an obscure thing, it is not unimaginable because the man has said so. And he has a party behind him that is afraid to do anything that he doesn't say.
The same party that said, if I get in office, Hillary will be in jail. She's not in jail.
They couldn't do it. They didn't have nothing to put on her.
That's the point, Theus.
And he said that he will
capacity to carry off anything that he's ever said.
What you're saying, Tracy, respectfully, it's just it doesn't hold the water. Like we're saying that in a rational world, and unfortunately, we haven't been dealing with that lately, right? This is a man who has said that he will take the FBI and go after anyone who has opposed him in the past. Not like what he did before, where he just like quietly went after like Peter Strzok and all them and had the IRS chase him down. No, he's saying flat out, if you oppose me, we're gonna prosecute you.
How you gonna?
That's serious.
How you gonna go after them? How is he gonna go after anybody? And at the same time, you got rid of the FBI.
Because what you replace them with will now be the federal police force.
Yep.
See, it's not that he's going to get rid of it and have nothing.
FSB on American soil.
Yes, they're already. Have you looked at the 2025 plan? Have you looked at any of the things that these people are talking about? This is not hyperbolic. They have plans in place. They're already recruiting people, interviewing people, structuring departments to come into play. He can put an executive order out there and have a police force in a second. And you know how I know he can do that? Because he did it. When we had that thing, when we were having the riots in Washington, they had unmarked federal officers in the crowd arresting people and mandating them.
Yep.
He's done it. So you think second term, he's just going to be like, well, I think I'll behave now.
Oh, no, he's going to be an absolutely monster in his second term. If that's a second term.
He even said, and I got to say this, he even said that he wants to take immigrants and put them in concentration camps. So we're bringing back concentration camps, not detention centers, concentration camps. Okay, so how many times do you have to say something? And how many people have to support him who have power and authority before we take it seriously?
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. Ultimately, it doesn't matter in a manner of speaking, because I promise you guys, unless something weird happens, if that man wins the election, I'll be doing this from overseas. I'm taking my family out of here. Y'all can sit here with the this ain't gonna happen and this ain't real and all that. Have a good time with that. Hope you're right. Getting the hell out of here. Because what I won't do is have my children deal with the consequences of my generation's failure to do something.
I hope you're looking into that already, because
Already have it moving.
Yep. I ain't gonna lie to you. Yep. I'm actually gonna do a lot of research come May. You guys know what I'm talking about. I know what I said I was gonna do in May fears, but it's actually research purposes too. So
No, I feel you.
Yeah. All right, let's move on, which is kind of a strange thing because it's a try not to laugh challenge. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play some corny ass jokes. I'm going to look at the panel and I'm going to see which one is laugh. I've written everybody's name down and I'm going to see who laughs at what joke, and whoever laughs the most loses. Whoever laughs the least wins. Let's go ahead and get started.
How many lips does a flower have?
How many?
2 lips.
What do you call a grandma that you dating?
What?
Old Bay.
Do you know whatever happened to the cow that was lifted into the air by the tornado?
No.
It was an utter disaster. Come on.
Why was the broom late to work?
Why?
It overswept.
What do you get when you cross the Atlantic Ocean with the Titanic?
What?
Halfway.
What's DJ's Khaled favorite diet food?
What?
A Caesar Khaled. I'm checking it out.
You like fries, right?
Yeah.
I have to bring everybody back because that dude literally butchered that last joke. So the winner is nobody, because I have the most unemotional group of people I've ever seen in my life, or these are the worst jokes on the face of the planet.
It's the second
Well,
one.
the Titanic one was interesting.
Halfway.
It didn't even get halfway.
It really didn't. I'm like,
But they made it all the way to the bottom.
Some, yeah.
Wow. Last video of the week so we can get on out of here. And we're going to take this into next week, everybody. Inspiration.
Put a finger down challenge 2024 edition. Put a finger down if you're going to be worried about what people got to say about you in 2024. Put a finger down if you're going to take them toxic people from 2023 into 2024. Put a finger down if you're going to continue to put yourself on the back burner and not make yourself a priority in 2024. Put a finger down if you are going to dim your light in 2024 because people cannot afford shades. Okay. Okay. Put a finger down if you do not know that in 2024, honey, you are the shits, the whole shit, and nothing but the whats. Yeah. Yes, honey, now take this hand, put it with this hand, give yourself a round of applause, because, baby, this is your winning season, and you better know it, okay? Now keep being great in their face, and you have a good day on purpose. You're welcome.
Keep being great in their face. Do that. All y'all.
I love that last statement. Be great in their face. This is 2024. We have come a long way. And I'm not even talking about this show. I'm talking about you in general. You know what you were 3 years ago, 2 years ago, last year. You're not the same person, no matter what somebody tells you that you were. You got to understand that people cannot make them feel bigger than you by making you lower than them. And as soon as you understand that, you will fight through it. Do not undermine yourself. Do not undermine your ability. Do not undermine your skills. And more importantly, in 2024, do not undermine your love. It is going to be a tough fight, but you are up for it, no matter what somebody says that you are not. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, non-conforming individuals, and of course,
I'm assuming you're LGBTQ until you.
That is the first week of the new year of Saturday Night Vibe and Radical Truth to Power. I appreciate Tracy. I appreciate Diaz. I appreciate Anna. We are going hard and strong in 2024. And until next time, we will see you when we see you. Peace.
Hey, we didn't tell where we could find each other at.
You can find me in the air.
You wanted to go to bed. Go to bed.
Yeah, that's true. Because, boy, my eyes is heavy. Woo, child.